win its season opener versus Colorado. Ha! That's what happened, gang. For the 6th year in a row, Rainbow Warriors kicked off a new season against the Pac-12 team, and for only the 2nd time recorded a win. Both those W's by beating the Buffaloes, and both on September 3rd, Rich Miano's birthday. I hope you're all having a pleasant evening. I'm Robert Kikaula, and this is Inside Access here on OC Sports. Perfect game? No. Perfect start to 2015? Absolutely.
You know, we didn't expect to have a perfect game. It's first time out here, first start, you know, first time as an offense together in the real game situation. So some things are going to happen, you know, a hiccup here or there, but we stayed strong, we stayed confident, we believed, and we came out on top.
Here they come. Whittick delivers, caught by Marcus Kemp into Buffalo territory. He will roll all the way into the end zone.
Perfect start. I mean, it couldn't happen any better than what it did. A block punt, and then we get the ball where we did and put it in the end zone, and that's what we want to do is get it in the paint, score points, and help our team. So, yeah, I mean, for me, it can't start any better than that.
2-point conversion. Whittick out of the shotgun. Quick hitter, complete. 8 on the board. It's Pedroza again.
USC transfer Max Whittick made his first start at quarterback wearing Hawaii colors and led UH to 302 yards total offense.
Lindsey motions out. Lou foul. Intercepted inside the 10. Julian Jenner picks it off.
And the Rainbow Warriors brought it on defense, logging 3 takeaways and 4 sacks.
3 and out on their first possession. Lufau pressing again, dragged down and sacked. Luke Shawley, the senior from Charlotte, the former Navy SEAL.
You get to the quarterback early. How good did that feel?
It was an amazing way to kick off the year for me personally. Yeah, it felt great. It felt amazing.
I really like what this defense is doing. The thing I'm impressed with, the kids flew around and they believe in what we're doing. And, you know, we didn't do everything right tonight, but we played with effort, and that's 3/4 of it.
There were plays aplenty, and we got them all. Hawaii ended a 19-game skid on national television. And for the first time since becoming the program's 22nd head coach, Norm Chow is 1 up in the win column. And under Chow, UH is now 8-0 when leading after 3 quarters. Oh, let's talk about it. I'm Robert Kikaula. I'll be joined by Stephen Tsai, Rich Miano, and Nate Ilawa for Inside Access here in OC Sports when we come back. Welcome back to Inside Access here at OC Sports. Final score for the opener for the Rainbow Warriors. Hawaii defeating Colorado 28-20. Now, clearly, the biggest win for the program with Norm Chow as head man. Team went 8-29 the past 3 seasons. We'll hear from Coach a little bit later. I'm Robert Kikaula. Joining me on Inside Access, former UH standout Nate Ilawa, Stephen Tsai from the Star Advertiser. Happy birthday, Stephen.
Thank you.
Today.
It is.
And also former UH, former NFL, former UH coach, former Rich Miano, my broadcast partner. Welcome again to Inside Access. Down the line, first of all, your reactions, Colorado losing to Hawaii.
Well, I mean, it was a good win for Hawaii, and like the coaches had mentioned, you know, it didn't go as perfect as it would. They'd like it, you know, but you take it, and then each week you work towards getting better.
Stephen Tsai, a Pac-12 team is a Pac-12 team.
Right, and I think everyone's talking about maybe they should have opened up against an FCS team, but hey, you beat a Pac-12 team, that's big.
Quality win, Rich?
I think so. Anytime, like Steven said, you beat a Pac-12 opponent, the fact that they're 1-0, they have a winning record, I mean, just for the fans, for the head coach, and more importantly, the team's confidence. For the rest of this year, this is a huge win.
Kickoff was 7 o'clock Hawaii time last Thursday. At 6:45, Mr. Miano, who told you Hawaii by 11?
There was a guy with a big Aloha shirt who almost predicted the score, the whole numerics and everything else, but he did say by 11.
By 11, it was 8. Let's get right to it. Coach Bailey talked about getting on the scoreboard first, getting on the scoreboard early. Hawaii defense forces the Buffaloes 3 and out. Then they get the ball on offense, and then quick strike. Nate, Quinton Pedroza came up big.
Well, I mean, it was huge, you know, going off of the feelings of, you know, the block punt and everything. You know, it was great to see you know, you execute a play like that, you know, with Quentin, you know, being able to get up open on the fade as quick as he did, as well as on the 2-point conversion, getting that open. You know, getting 8-point early, I think it was, you know, really helpful for them. And then as you can see here, getting in motion, it looks like Colorado gets kind of confused on who's got who, and it was just easy pickings, you know, for Whittick right there in the flats.
Never seen somebody so wide open on a 2-point conversion. Afterwards, Q was a happy man.
It's just something we practiced and something we've executed time after time in practice. So it's something that was second nature, and we were like, he asked us if we were surprised, and we weren't surprised at all because it was something that we expected to execute, and it was something that we time after time did. So it was something. It was obviously exciting. Like, excitement was there all around, and we were excited that we can come in the game and do it and execute it.
Now the quarterback, Max Whittick, 6'4", needed all 240 pounds because he did get hit a couple of times. 19 of 38 passing, 202 yards, 3 touchdown passes, also 2 interceptions, one of them off a deflection. Stephen Tsai, the quarterback, the transfer from USC. Your thoughts?
Well, I like that he has the big arm, and he showed it on the long passes to Marcus Kemp, but also like he's got the big legs because he was in the end zone. He was trapped. He was, 3-4 yards deep, and he plowed his way. He might have got a little DeJon Allen help there, but I mean, getting out of the end zone, that was a sure sack, and he got the hardest yard he probably ever get.
It's been a while, but he says it was good to get going. It's been a while since you've been at the helm, the guy. How did it feel for you personally to get it over with and get it out of your system?
Oh, man, there was a couple moments after the game where I felt myself getting a little emotional. Had to take a second, but you know, it's just it means a lot to me just to be a part of a team that cares so much about each other, and to be a part of something that you know, we're all pushing for the same thing, and it just feels amazing. You know, I'm so glad. I love all my teammates, and you know, they make this so worthwhile, and you know, I look forward to doing more of this with them.
Rich, upside, a lot of it. You see it?
Yeah, you do. You definitely see his ability to look the free safety off the field and cover 1 or cover 3. You see some motion here as he gets out. He's not fast, but he has enough mobility to get out and throw those balls in the flat, and he gets rid of the ball so quickly, whether he's underneath the center or from the gun. A lot of upside. You're going to see more from this guy as the season progresses because he can throw the deep comeback. He can throw the intermediate routes. We saw a lot of quick passes, but he has a whole lot more in his goods.
No, he got the touchdown pass, 11 yards to Q, Quentin Pedroza, then later gets the big home run ball to that guy right here. 6'4", 200 pounds, Marcus Kemp, 6 catches, 116 yards, including a 79-yard touchdown. 79 yards. They had you, didn't have you. You weren't going to get stopped, were you?
Right. No, I saw the end zone, you know, and he made a play on the ball instead of me. So, I mean, it was just a perfect situation. I saw the end zone, and I knew that there was no one going to stop me from getting there, you know. And so right when he fell off, I tried to get as fast as I could in there and score.
Of 2014, Rich, he got that big touchdown late in the game against UNLV. Is there a better way to start a new season?
You know, last year was a question mark regarding consistency. He dropped some easy catches, but the skinny post he caught for the long pass, the fact that he's a red zone threat because he's so big and tall, and what I love most about him is you better wrap up and you better bring him to the ground because he's playing with so much confidence that he is shaking off defenders. I love the way this guy's playing, and he's going to have a big season.
After a win like Hawaii got against a Pac-12 member in the Colorado Buffaloes, in the locker room, those kids are starting to believe.
It's the first one of hopefully many, and we got to take them as they come, as they say, right? I don't want to sound cliche, but, you know, obviously there's a lot of things we need to work on as we look at the film and be critical of ourselves in that way, but a huge win for us in our program, and we're headed in the right direction.
At this point, the right direction was probably the best case scenario for this program. They needed to be pointed in the right direction after last season.
I think so. They needed to get and when you lose at the end, it's a long off season. There's so many critics, and they had so many question marks going into the season because of all the coaching changes, different personnel and everything. So I think they really need to get a good start on this season.
You like the up-tempo type offense?
Yeah, I do. You know, my background, I came from something similar. But I think, as you're seeing some of these receivers, they're looking hungrier. Their opportunities are going to be there. We're talking about Kemp, going across the middle, catching passes, catching them all over outs, seams, catching the skinny posts and running hard after the catch. I think that's a credit to the type of offense where, the ball's going to be going all over the place and being spread out, and you want to be that guy to, score touchdowns and, make plays and make first downs.
And part of the receiving corps, Dylan Collie, made a big catch late in the game and took a big shot. Coming up on Inside Access, we will hear from Hawaii head coach Norm Chow. But after this break, we're talking defense. Welcome back to Inside Access here on OC Sports. Final numbers, Hawaii beating the Buffaloes. First downs, actually in favor of Colorado, 24. More rushing yards for the Buffs, 215 to 100 for Hawaii. Hawaii won the passing game, 202 yards to 158. Colorado, 373 yards of total offense to 302 for UH. 4 sacks, a plus for Hawaii. Third down conversions. Both teams not very impressed. I'm pretty sure coaches will love better than 7 for 19, better than 6 for 19. And 3 turnovers for Colorado, 2 for Hawaii. The feeling of getting game 1 out of the way, and it's a win against a Pac-12 team.
Well, yeah, what more could you ask for? I mean, this first game's always scary, and especially when you don't know really what they're going to do. You're guessing, and you haven't game planned them. You haven't really seen what they're really all about. Great win. The kids played hard. Really impressed with the effort our kids played with tonight, and that's what really got us a win.
Mefi Koloa Motangi, bowling over. Kennedy Tulimaseli. We talked about it last week. Nobody's going to be surprised if he has a big year. Started off big.
Yeah, and he just, as advertised, he's explosive. He's going to draw the double teams, but he was able to split a lot of them as well. And then that's what you were asking for a guy like him, and I thought he delivered.
As a player, Rich, whether it be in college, whether it be in the NFL, is this a type of defense players like to play in?
They love it because they're not going to be just sitting in a stationary 3-man front. They're going to be zone dogging, fire dogging. This week, you even saw the free safety part of that zone dog, fire dog type of package. So we're going to see a lot of line movements as well in stunts because these guys are small, but they're quick and they're hard to block. And that was evident. I thought that was the biggest thing they did. When you talk about no long runs, no long passes, it starts up front. And he had pressure early and often, and he was never confident to throw the ball downfield.
And up front, as you mentioned, is where it did started. The standout player for Hawaii was defensive lineman Luke Shawley, making the first start of his career. He's 6'3", 250 pounds. The big number, 14. 14 total tackles. Struggle against Colorado. Season was no joke. You guys felt it. How big of a difference is the feeling in this locker room after a game like this?
It's night and day. Starting off a season like the way we did tonight, I think is exactly what this team needs. I think it'll kick us off into a great season. And yeah, it's a night and day difference. It feels great. I think that our team really believed that we had a lot of potential, and I think we acted on it and showed that we do tonight.
Stephen Tsai, the Luke Shawley story to get to this point, he's got a motor, doesn't he?
He does, and we've heard his background. He was a Navy SEAL. He got in a little trouble, got out of it. His girlfriend, who was a San Diego Charger cheerleader, encouraged him to try out at Mesa College, played football for the first time, played there 2 years and came here. And you're right, he does have a motor. You list him at 250, he might not be 250. He might not be as tall as he says either, but his heart is very big, and he just keeps coming at you.
You got Kennedy Tulimaseli on one side and Luke Shawley on the other side. Both of them get after the quarterback. Both of them have a motor. Mr. Miyano, you talked about this offense. You talked about the fire dog. I don't have you look at a play specifically. Third quarter, Hawaii was leading 18-17. It was 4th and 3 from the 38-yard line. This is the play we saw. Can you dissect this play if we give you the eye in the sky look?
There you go. What you're seeing now is when you talk zone dogs, fire zones, you're talking about an overload principle. Whether it's 4 coming from the boundary, which you see here, it's either 4 up the middle or it's 4 from the field. This is 4 from the boundary. But the interesting thing about this play, Robert, is it's Morrell Jackson getting skinny up the A gap. So you're overloading the protection, and give Tom Mason credit, because 4th and 3, He didn't play zero coverage where you can get beat on a quick slant and it can go for 6. He still had a free safety. He still had a linebacker that was free for crossing routes and good coverage by Nick Nelson. But Morrell Jackson, the ability to get skinny and get in the A-gap, because he's the one who applied the pressure, that was the reason for the high errant throw.
Yeah, Nick Nelson, 11 tackles, including 3 passes being broke up. The quarterback for Colorado, Sefo Liufau, last year they beat Hawaii 21-12. He threw for a zillion yards, had a great game. For the most part, Hawaii held him intact, only 158 yards through the air, but he did show toughness in the second half, rushing for 81 yards. Again, in 2014, Nelson Spruce, their receiver, he put up big numbers against Hawaii. They contained him. 8 catches for 69 yards for Spruce. They lose to a team in 2014, Stephen. You come back and beat this team, and their 2 star players from 2014 return held in check.
They did, and they did a really good job. They doubled up a lot on Spruce, and they were able to contain the quarterback. The quarterback's a big guy. I think Chow said after the game, he walked up to him to congratulate him, and he said the guy reminded him of Colin Kaepernick. He said he's just a big, tough guy, and those are tough guys to not only defend with his arm, but defend with his legs. He's a good scrambler too.
Impressive for CU was their running back, Michael Atkins.
He was, and I thought, I don't know what they were doing down the stretch. I thought they got away from, the run game, but he was really tough and gave them a lot of problems. I thought that Hawaii made their adjustments, but at the same time, Colorado may have gotten away from running, that and put it more on Liufau's arm. But he ran tough, he ran hard, and it was a good test for Hawaii's defense, to kind of button things up going on through the rest of the season.
Michael Atkins, 22 carries, 90 yards, had 2 trips into the end zone at Aloha Stadium. As we go forward here in this show, we talked about maybe the biggest shoes to fill. What's going to be the punter? Wow. Special teams, got to be thumbs up.
Yeah, and it's not just Scott Harding. It was Tyler Haddon as well. This guy replaced 2 great players.
Yeah, Rigoberto Sanchez. We're also going to talk about Mauro Bondi. We're also going to talk about punt returns when we come back. Also, we'll sit down one-on-one with Norm Chow on Inside Access here at OC Sports.
Liufau play action on first down. Gonna throw this one away, nothing downfield. Some pretty good moves there from the big man. R.J. Hollis, the right tackle. A junior from Phoenix.
Okay, if this were Dancing with the Stars, what score would you give R.J. Hollis, guys?
I'm going 7.
I'm going 10 because he had to catch the ball too.
Yeah, you got to catch the ball.
That's big too.
Stephen, he got moved, Stephen.
And 10, and because you're right, he did impromptu, unless he's been thinking he's out ahead. Because a lot of people go into visualization things, but it sounded like it was impromptu.
On your college football team, who was that guy?
On my college football team, let me think of my professional football team. That was Mark Gastineau.
Easily?
Yes, he would dance.
When you played at UH, who was that guy?
Ooh, that guy. That'd be Mike Lafayette.
Really?
Yes.
Good call.
He was the guy on the sideline going crazy. We talk special teams. And the way this football game started with special teams, Keelan Evaliko got things started for Hawaii.
Yeah, it was an awesome way to start the game. It's something that, I thought he's athletically able to do this. Rich and I were speaking earlier. We were talking about how he kind of had to slow down to make this play, which is, attributed to his speed. And it was just a great way to get the whole team going, and of course the Pedroza touchdown followed right after. But as you can see here, obviously they didn't want to block him, and he had to slow down. He could have actually taken the ball from his foot and walked it to the end zone if he wanted to.
You're fast when you have to slow down to block the punt.
Robert, you've been around a long time. Micah Q.
Yes.
Matthew Harding. This is what this guy can impact the game from a punt block. He ran down on kicks, punts, as well as we'll probably see him returning kicks as well.
Yeah, a little bit later. Stephen Tsai, Mauro Bondi. Now, the first 2 kickoffs of the game, Rich and I were looking at each other like it was 3-4 yards deep.
And it wasn't easy because of the way the weather was. The air was thick. I didn't think it was going to get that deep, but he's got a really strong leg, and it's going to be a weapon.
He averaged 64 yards per kickoff, did Mauro Bondi. He has the long kicking duty, and you see the big foot. To get that kind of number at this elevation in Aloha Stadium, it's impressive. What's also impressive is Rigoberto Sanchez, punter, kicker.
Well, the offensive coordinator got a game ball. rightfully so. The defense coordinator got a game ball. But Norm Chow also gave one to Rigoberto Sanchez. And when you think about his average, 46.3 yards, he punted 10 times. More importantly, Robert, was the direction of his kick. It pinned the opponent, Nate, inside the boundary, which shortens the field for you to cover. The hang time was there. The direction was there. He was perfect on his PATs. He was perfect kicking field goals. How do you replace Scott Harding and Eric Hannum? This guy was an MVP because the hidden yardage in field position.
After the game in the locker room, when Norm Chow gave him a game ball, the entire locker room started chanting, ole, 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 ole. And you see he had 2 field goals as well, 27 yards, 34 yards. The good thing is an average of 46.3 yards per punt. How much of a concern is it that Hawaii punted 10 times?
Well, it can be, and I think it's, first game as far as the offense gelling and getting things done. But it's good to know that you have someone who can actually, at least help field position if that does, arise. Of course, you would rather not punt that much, but if you have to, it's somebody that can change the field position and help the team out.
If you can, it can help you. 46.3 is can.
That was low for last year too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and they led the nation in punts last year, something they don't want to repeat this year. You don't want your punter to be your MVP.
No, you do not. No. There was a player for Hawaii in this game. He played a lot of defensive line, who started his college career at Colorado. Corey Rasmussen, Kamehameha alum. Good for him. He gets to play here.
It is, and he's really worked hard. And it's been a really tough time for him because after he left Colorado, he wanted to come home. He's working 2 jobs. He wasn't on scholarship. A lot of times they come back, they put you on scholarship. He had to wait a while for his scholarship, and he was working 2 jobs. He became a father this summer, and then, even though his girlfriend did a lot of the raising, he had to be around there and he had to do some things, and he just had a lot of responsibilities. And so for him to come out here and get this, I think that really helped, especially against his old team.
First of all, let's say it. That's a bonehead play by Colorado. On loose ball, trying to pick it up. Come on.
And what is nice too is Tom Mason said he was a statue of limitations. He was very limited when he first came here. He wasn't moving his feet. He wasn't using his hands. So what did Lance Semoseva do? He worked relentlessly with this guy. He played big. And they're going to need, Robert, as you know, both sets of defensive linemen. They're going to be 6 of them are going to be like a hockey team. They're going to be coming in and out of the game constantly for these guys to be successful. And Rasmussen played big.
And Corey Rasmussen, when he came to UH, started as an offensive lineman. They tried to find a place for that kid to get onto the field, got onto the field. Special teams, one concern, maybe that they're going to take a look at coaches, punt return.
Well, anytime, you have some, I think it's a first game, I'll just chalk it up to that, him maybe being nervous, under the big lights and things like that. But, you got to come down with those. Those could definitely have been game-changing, opportunities for Colorado if they were able to recover. Unfortunately, they weren't. But, that would be something they'll really emphasize coming up, throughout practice and really try to get taken care of.
And as exciting as Scott Harding was with the rugby-style punting of the last couple of seasons, his value as the punt returner, just securing the football, was of high value.
Huge, Robert. And the thing you want is the most sure-handed guy on your squad to catch the ball. If you can make someone miss and get 10 yards like Scott Harding would do on a consistent basis last year, that's a bonus. But as Nate said, you cannot let that ball hit the ground because, 1, it's going to result in hidden yardage. 2, if you touch it or you muff it, it's going to result in a turnover, which is huge and sometimes insurmountable.
We've heard from some of the players. We've heard from the team's 2 new coordinators. Now, on Inside Access, it's time we hear from Hawaii head coach Norm Chow. That was a big win for you personally, for this football program, for these kids who've been grinding through fall camp.
Robert, like I've said all along, not about me, but it was nice to see these young people because they have not only fall camp but all off season long. We ended on a little bit of a high note last year, and to see them during the off season working with Gary during the summer and then the fall camp, it was nice to see. It was nice to see them have success, and I hope this is the start of something good for the program. But it's just one game. We have to move on to the next one.
Your quarterback, Max Wittek, wasn't perfect, but man, the upside is, you can see it.
No question. I mean, we dropped 5 balls. I don't think he was happy with the completion percentage, but we dropped 5 balls. What was really nice about it was his poise, his leadership, and his handling of the ball game. It was when it was tight and all that. That was really crucial for us.
Luke Shawley, first start, for a sack, 14 tackles. That was big for this defense.
It really was. You know, that's the one area that we're not deep at, as you know. And so he played very well. I thought the others played well. Kennedy really played well. He ate up a lot of blocks. And then to have Meffy and Kyle Gifford come in and play, it was really nice to see. But Luke, yes, he was special.
You look back at last season, and as you prepare for 2015, maybe one of the biggest shoes to fill, Scott Harding, your punter. Your punter steps in, Rigoberto Sanchez, unbelievable performance and field goal duties as well.
We punted 10 times, which is way too much, but he averaged 46 yards a punt. Yeah, he's been, you know, he's not as exciting, obviously, as Scotty, because we don't rugby as much, but, you know, we do have some of that going for us, but he was special, and then his 2 field goals were just true as ever. We're really, really happy with Rigo.
It's often been said in this game of football, the power of belief in a locker room. You look past headlines, you look past the next opponent. If you start to believe in yourself, are you a believer of the power of belief?
Without question. Without question. Football is so emotional and mental, unlike other sports. You know, you have to have your schemes and your execution down, but if the emotions that go along with it, and that's why we're so excited about this next one, that it does. I believe that totally, and you know the good teams, you know the feeling that they have, and our guys have it, I think.
You look back in the history of University of Hawaii football, your next opponent might just be the best opponent this program has ever faced, Ohio State. Are they that good?
They are. You watch them on tape. Now we're excited to watch their next game, but you watch them on tape and they're solid everywhere. And they do such nice, creative things. For example, they never kick the ball off into the end zone. They want you to return it because they know they're going to tackle you before you get to the 25. Things like that they do makes them exceptional, very well coached. But we're excited to do it. We're excited to go out there. We're excited to show them who we are, and it should be fun.
These kids believe they can beat them?
Well, I know without question. I asked them. I said, I mean, you don't believe that, don't get on the plane. Come and see me. And they got aggravated when I asked them that.
Coach, good luck this week against the Buckeyes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We've got much more on Inside Access here in OC Sports after this. Welcome back to Inside Access here in OC Sports. I'm Robert Kikaula with Nate Ilawa, Stephen Tsai, and Rich Miano. Let me start with you, Rich. Coach Chow, we just saw his words. You see a light, a skip in his step? He's feeling it, isn't he?
Yeah, and he knows now he's methodically built this team up. He's got a tight end. He's got the receivers. He's got a bunch of running backs. He's finally got his quarterback. You look at it, it's almost like the version of the New York Football Giants. He's got length. He's got strength. He's got speed. He's got his coordinators. They seem to get along. So he's walking a lot more loosely, a lot more confidently. But Robert, he also knows that you're never as bad as they say you are, and you're never as good either. You're somewhere in the middle. He wants to find out where this squad is.
Stephen Tsai, you talked to Coach this morning. Is he liking what he saw against Colorado a couple of days after the fact?
I think so. I mean, and I thought he did his best coaching job, and one of the best things he did was apparently he was the one who came up with the idea of let's go for 2 if they score first. And I think that by doing that, it changed the entire strategy of the whole game. And I think that's one of the best things he did. I mean, he's learned to come up with suggestions and let his coordinators coach and let the coordinators coach the players. And I think he did a really good job of stepping away and sort of managing the big picture.
Nate, 8-29 in the first 3 seasons under Chow. And I know it's just one game. Is the football team better?
I believe so. You know, I mean, I was able to see a couple of the practices this summer, and I think that they're all on board on what Coach Chow is wanting to do. And what I mean by that is that you don't really have people who are, you know, with the older regime where they may be, you got to pick and choose what a coach is telling you. You know, whether it's right or whatever right or wrong or what's being coached, they're not stuck on the fence of, well, I used to do it this way, I used to do that. I think they're all under, you know, what he's trying to do. You know, and I feel that they're all buying in, you know, with the offense, you know, specifically. But as a whole, I think that they're all on board, and I think it helps, you know, as a coach as well, to know that everybody's going to be able to follow what's being taught.
A couple of last notes. Paul Harris started at running back for Hawaii. 17 carries for 68 yards. He's got some shake in his game. It looked pretty impressive, a couple of runs.
He did. You know, and I thought, you know, a couple more moves here or there or a broken tackle, he could have taken, you know, some of these a lot farther. But, you know, as we're watching here, it looks a little bit more hesitant. I think, you know, first game jitters as well, being under the lights. You know, I chalk a lot of first games up to see what they'll do. I'm anxious to see what he's going to do with practice and what he's going to do in this next game coming up. He's going to take those strides to hit those holes harder, to run harder, get those extra yards, and showcase, you know, on the big scene.
Now, 28-20, Hawaii defeats the Colorado Buffaloes. That was the final score. Are there no more two plays that are being talked about a couple of days later than Max Wittig preventing a safety? He needed all 240 pounds to get himself out of that end zone, didn't he?
That was heroic, because that would have been a turning point in this game in terms of momentum. And you're right, if he's not 240 pounds, if he doesn't have the resolve to get out of that end zone, that's a safety. That doesn't show up in the statistics on Monday or Sunday, whenever you're looking at it, but that was a huge play.
Stephen Sire, right before Max Wittig had to tough it out of the end zone, Deshaun Allen got skills now with the ball.
Right, because you got to improvise, you got to pick up the ball, you got to kind of move your way out, and he even learned
He tucked it.
Yeah, tucked it, so it was good. So, I mean, comes to improvisational skills, him and R.J. Hollis kind of had both.
Those were the two most talked about plays, is preventing the safety. And now here we are. Bring on the Buckeyes. You ready for Ohio State?
Yeah, we're ready. I mean, as ready as we're going to get. We're going to go out there, got a nice long trip, and we'll see how it goes.
Hey, I'll think about those guys on Saturday. I mean, I want to enjoy this first. I want to enjoy this, and then we'll get on to Ohio State.
We constantly stress in the locker room, in the meeting rooms. We are playing faceless opponents. If you ask me who we played tonight, I wouldn't know who you're talking about, because they're just a jersey number across from us, and we just constantly stress to not play with any self-inflicted wounds, and just keep going and pushing and fighting.
Be honest. As a player, you got to say that. But come on now.
You do. But
You're not thinking that? He's like, it's Ohio State.
No, we've had those in the past. You know, we had big teams. We played eventual national champs, you know, with SC back in the day. But you gotta kind of stay within yourself. You know what you're getting into. You know you're going to the horseshoe, defending national champs. You don't know really who's playing quarterback. At least I don't know who they were going to start yet. But you can't worry about that, honestly. You got to worry about what you can do, what you're going to do when you get there, and you just put it all out there on the table when that day comes.
The great debate is on. Hawaii goes to Columbus to play top-ranked and defending national champion Ohio State. Is Ohio State the best ever opponent Hawaii will face?
Well, first of all, let me clearly state that the biggest improvement in college football is between week 1 and 2. They're going to need that, because Nate and I and anyone that's played the game refer to the opponents as cats sometimes. These guys are cheetahs. They're that fast. They're lions. They're that, you know, in terms of the king of the jungle. But, you know, Nate and I go back. You know, Florida was good at Florida. Alabama was good when we played them at Alabama. But playing USC in 2003 with the eventual cast of NFL All-Pros and college All-Americans, I'm not sure that this team is better than them, but I'm leaning towards Ohio State being like Miami of the 80s and the 90s. Yeah. These guys are loaded.
Steven, have you seen a better team ever?
Who was that coordinator at USC when you played them, right? It was Chow, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Reggie Bush?
Oh.
Reggie Bush, USC, Ohio State. Anybody else?
I just think this is a tough team because, I mean, you're going to go on a road trip, and it's not just an easier road trip. You're not going to have as many Hawaii fans. It's going to have to go way farther, and it's just a tougher trip. But you know what? They have a chance. They're at the table. This is good. I mean, you can't have an upset or you can't beat them unless you actually play them. And to actually be at the table, I think this means a whole lot. And, of course, you know, coming close counts at the horseshoe, right?
It was a good start to 2015 for the UH football team. We'll come back next week and talk about Hawaii against the Ohio State. For Rich Mayano, for Stephen Tsai, for Nate Ilawa, our entire crew, I'm Robert Kikaula. Thanks for tuning in to Inside Access here in OC Sports.
What's up, everybody? Kanoa Leahy alongside Rob DeMello and Bobby Curran. We have Max Holloway, UFC featherweight contender, going to be joining us in studio a little bit later on. You know, Rob, I was thinking, if you were an MMA fighter, you'd probably be in the same weight class as Max Holloway. What do you think would happen if you stepped in the octagon with Max?
Man, I'd get hit so hard I'd be seeing like these kaleidoscope
like
colors.
the graphics package here on But Seriously?
Did Max hit me already?
Bank of Hawaii is proud to sponsor this program. But seriously,
there's a lot to talk about. Let's start with some football. Yes, at Aloha Stadium on Thursday night, the Rainbow Warrior football team got off to a winning start in 2015. Keelan Evaliko, the Maui boy, able to make things happen with the punt block and recovery, and that led to Hawaii's opening touchdown. Max Wittek to Quinton Pedroza. They doubled it up for 2, and it started to go from there. Great positive start for Hawaii. The defense was lights out. They go on to beat Colorado out of the Pac-12 28-20. Guys, Hawaii is 1-0. How big of a win was this for the Bows?
Well, undefeated, and considering the schedule that's coming up, I mean, it became huge to get this. And now some of their goals can be maintained because people hoping they go to a bowl game, frankly. And without a win last Thursday, it wasn't happening.
We talked about that last week about with the schedule that comes up, how important it would be to get win number 1. And I went to practice yesterday. Marcus Kemp, I think, kind of put it clearly and put it in the best way. He said, we've never returned to practice after our first game feeling great about ourselves. And what he was excited about was how the team responded to a win. You can learn a lot about a team, about how they respond to a loss and if they're motivated to get better. But I think you learn more about how you respond to a victory. Are you still as motivated in trying to get better, even though you just won a game? And he said that to a man across that practice field. Everyone there wanted to get better because they want to taste that again. And I think it was a huge, huge victory as far as what they're trying to accomplish for the rest of the year.
How impressive was it considering what we saw from Colorado? This is a team that won 2 games last year, one of them in Boulder against Hawaii.